Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Life of the Lost. I'm Sam.
And I'm Megan.
And this week's episode is sponsored by Brown Lab Media. Brown Lab Media is a creative community helping to create and promote original content, personal brands, businesses, or anything media related by people of color. So if you have a chance, feel free to check them out. The link is www.brownlabmedia.com. All right, moving on to this week's episode.
We're going to talk a little bit about the time that I went down to Peru. And I was going to live with my parents for a few months. And it was such a crazy time. And I had my journal with me and I wrote in it like almost every single day. And I know I've brought it up a little bit here and there, but I think I really want to dive deep into it this time.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. I don't know how many people out there who are adopted who are listening, but just, the thought of actually, meeting your birth family, which is really cool. I never was able to meet my parents because my dad was MIA, like maybe some of you had known, and also my mom had died of ovarian cancer before I was able to meet her. So it's pretty much zero chance that I was able to go back and meet them. And so I think that it's a really cool, unique experience for somebody who is adopted to actually have the chance to go back and to experience, their birth family and everything that comes with that, their way of living and just who they are and how they, coexist with each other in a whole other setting that are still part of your family.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people kind of romanticize that and kind of think like once I've met my birth family, like everything's going to be complete or it's going to be so different from my adoptive family. And
it's
I know
going to change my life.
Yeah,
and my
and
world.
for me, it just kind of, the first time meeting them was crazy in itself. But what happened, what I'm about to tell you about, I have no words. It totally turned everything upside down for the better, for the worse. It was just a mix of everything. But before I get into it, I kind of just want to set the mood, set the tone of where I was before all of this happened. So today we're just going to do like a little intro. And this was 2014. I can't necessarily remember, like I just graduated.
I wish I could find like a list of like events that happened in the year 2014 just to give a brief description of like the world that helps relatability.
I'm just trying to like figure out how old I was all of a sudden because that would help, right?
Yes.
2014 minus 1991 is... I was 23. I was a baby.
23. Wow.
Well, it turned 24 that year.
Okay. 23. 2014.
I know where I was. Pretty much, I had graduated an art college. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not going to say the word, but the name, because people can look me up, but whatever. You're going to Google me, you'll find that anyways. I went to Minneapolis College of Art and Design, and I graduated in 2013. And for...
Nobody was thinking about that until you said it. Now they're just like, oh.
Googling Megan Riggis.
If you can't put it that way.
It's an open book here. I feel like talk about a little bit of everything. But
yeah.
So I had graduated in 2013. And what was I doing? I had a few different internships at the time. But when kind of this started unraveling, it was 2014. It was the summer of 2014, and I had my first internship, and it had turned into a full-time job. Well, it wasn't my first internship. It was just my first internship that turned into a full-time job, and it was really cool. I was a graphic design intern, and a few months into it, I think it was only supposed to last a few months, like maybe 3 or 4 months, and they had promoted me to an assistant director because the marketing director was leaving, and they're like, oh, well, you know all about the design stuff, and I was kind of like, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? But it was really fun. It was for like a neighborhood association, and I guess the best way to describe it was just kind of making ads, things like that. We hosted a lot of events, things like that. But anyways, my sister, I found out she was pregnant and that her first child was due in November. And why it was such a big deal is because she wasn't supposed to have any kids at all. And she had been struggling for years and years trying to have kids. So for me, I kind of took it like as a sign, and I was like, oh, I need to be a part of this. Like, I really want to be a part of this. And I really want to be there when she has the baby. And I was totally like gun-ho on going there when she was going to have the baby. And so I was like planning this out, but I was really nervous to make that jump. And so I had to talk to like a few people in my life. And I guess even before that, before I talked to these people, like, so with this, I kind of started making like a little bit of a book. And so part of it, like a little bit of an intro just said, I had a lot going on around me at the time, but I was only satisfied with my life. Waking up every day with the same feeling was something I knew I needed to change. I was 18 months into my first full-time job, but I knew it wasn't the place I wanted to stay for the rest of my life. I was dating someone for 6 years, and at the time I was emotionally detached from everything else in my life. I had been cancer-free for a little over a year, and I felt like I wasn't taking advantage of being alive. And so I think there's a few things going on. You know, I think when you graduate college, you feel like, I'm an adult now, and I didn't necessarily have that feeling at that job. Like, I loved my boss so much. She was so sweet and kind, but
it's
I
funny,
didn't want to
like
be
when you
there.
graduate college, like I don't know, like I saw a meme recently just about like, I think I showed you just graduating college and how you're just magically think that like now you're supposed to like know everything that it you should know about the degree you graduate from, so that should automatically translate into being good at your job.
Yeah.
But you're not. It doesn't like.
And you should be making all this money and like all of these things. It's just, I guess it's kind of like a standard or what is that?
Perceived conception. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess you just assume that all of these things are going to kind of like fall into place. And it didn't feel like that. And plus kind of like digging into this a little bit more. Let's see. Oh yeah. So I had been dating somebody, and it wasn't like, it's one of those relationships where you know, you just shouldn't be in. It's just like, it's like, it's just too much. It's just too much like drama, and you're like young and you should be out doing other things. And so I was just so like solely invested into this one person that when I said like I was detached from everything else in my life, like I literally was. I didn't have, my focus wasn't on really anything else. And so it was a place where I felt like my heart and my mind just were never really level. And it just wasn't a good feeling. And then a little bit more like going into the cancer-free, I had thyroid cancer. I got it about my senior year in college, and it was a really interesting process. Everybody always asks, how did you know you had cancer?
You got like go into a whole thing with like your journey through cancer.
But it felt like it happened so fast too. Like it was weird. So I was just,
I think like you could be on like a cancer like podcast.
Maybe.
Like, as somebody being interviewed. Because I don't know, I feel like there's like, I feel like, you know, cancer is such a big thing that a lot of people deal with, and, you know, their journeys can be very rigorous. And I mean, yours was, I mean, you know,
but it didn't feel like it. It just felt like it happened like,
you had there's a lot of not complications, but just a lot of like recovery process for that, and just going back to the doctor and then getting these things. And I just think that, you know, if you really just sit down and talk about it, you could talk a lot about it in terms of like your family and how it was affected them on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's true.
And, you know, the doctor visits and just, you know, like kind of going into your adoption, right? Just, you know, viewing the world differently, knowing that, you know, obviously maybe the likelihood that you're going to die is probably lower, I guess, than other cancers, but still high.
Yeah.
But still something to think about. I mean, you have cancer, the thought doesn't cross your mind that, like, I might die, even though that might not, you know, be as real as other, you know, even more, other levels of cancer.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I'd be so scared. So I don't know. Sorry. Side note thought.
Oh, it's okay. But for me, like, it's funny when people are like, yo, you could go really in depth about it. And for me, it just happened like super quick. I just went into the doctor. They felt my neck. They're like, there's something wrong. Let's get your thyroid levels tested. They were out of like skyrocketing. Pretty much it was just saying my thyroid wasn't working at all. And so got into a specialist. They're like, yep, it's not working. Like, I think you have like Hashimoto's disease or something. Then later they're like, okay, you have a bump. Let's do, like a few months later, let's do, what is that called? When
biopsy?
they like a biopsy. Which that was kind of creepy, but did a biopsy into this little bump, and then they find out in a few months that it was cancerous. You're gonna have to have surgery. And I just felt like it just kind of, everything just happened so fast. It was just jam-packed. And I think I remember by December, I didn't have cancer anymore. I had gone through radiation, just a radiation pill. But yeah, I guess, like, I mean, we can get into that another time, too.
Was it a big pill?
It was like 2 little pills. And it was weird because I went into the doctor's office, and I sat down, and, like, I was just, like, wearing this little Peruvian hat, and I was just sitting there, and my mom took a picture of me, and I'm just in this chair, and I'm just like, all right, I don't know what's going to happen. And then we had to drive 2 cars because of the radiation, you couldn't be in the same area as anybody else because they still had their thyroid. They still had all their organs were working fine. And if I was with them and drove home with them, then, like, theirs would stop working. That's what they told me. So Jesus. I was sitting there, and I was just waiting, and this person in kind of like a spacesuit looked like came in, and just with these big clunky gloves handed me this tiny little, you know, those little cups that you have in the bathroom. This little cup, I had, like, I think 1 or 2 pills in it, and I'm just like, oh, thank you. And I had my water, and I was like, and it was done. And then I got to go home, and, you know, they just kind of quarantined me for like a few days, like 3 days. I was just watching Disney movies and stuff, and they would bring my food up to the top of the stairs, and then they'd run back downstairs and say, all right, Megan, like, you can get it now. Come in my room, get the paper plates and everything. So that was an experience. And I guess the reason, like, that relates to this is because I think after you have cancer, after you have surgery, after you have anything kind of life-threatening, you just feel like, now I should live. Now I should take advantage of it. I'm alive. It's gone, you know, things like that. And so that's why, and while I was writing this, I just realized, like, I needed to do something. And that something was, I kind of all tied in at the same time when I found out my sister was pregnant. And so seeing those ultrasound pictures and everything was, like, really cool. And it just made me feel like, I don't know, it gave me purpose. I was like, oh, that's going to be like a baby, and it's a part of the family, and it just was really fun.
Meanwhile, my other brothers already had kids. Yeah. It was like...
You're so disconnected from it, though.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyways. Sorry.
It's okay. But before I decided to buy the tickets, I started talking to, like... I just talked to my boyfriend at the time, who I didn't trust. Like, I just didn't really trust him very well. Like I said, it just wasn't a relationship I should have been in. But that's, like, I was making up all these scenarios in my life. Like, if I go, what happens if this happens? What happens if that happens? And so I had talked to my grandma about that. I had talked to my mom about that. And their kind of conclusion was that all of these reasons are, like, outside reasons, right? They're not really internal reasons. They're all these things you're worried about, but you should be the reason, like, why you go. And, like, when I was talking to my mom, she was super nervous, but she never told me she was nervous. It was just kind of that feeling like, oh my God, my daughter's going to go to a third world country and stay with her birth family. Like, what if she never comes back? You know, I'm sure those thoughts probably went through her head. And, but yeah, I always kind of saw the sadness in her eyes. So that always kind of made me, like, if it was a bummer, but I knew I had to do it. Let's see. I wanted to, what I wrote about my grandma, it was just said, oh yeah, I was so concerned about all the people around me and details I had no control over. She supported my decision, and after that conversation, I knew I had one more person to talk to. And yeah, I guess that's just going back to, like, outside reasons, right? Like the worry of something happening, but you have no control over it. And I think that's always been a big problem in my life. And then the last person I talked to kind of, like, have the sign off was, like, an old professor from my college, and her name was Nancy Rice, and she had cancer as well. It wasn't the same cancer, but I just felt like I connected with her a lot during college, and so I just felt like she had such a pure, like, beautiful heart, and I really wanted to just kind of hear her and what she had to say about it. And after I got, like, done talking to her, I think we met up and we had lunch. I was like, all right, let's just buy the tickets. So I did purchase the tickets, like, had to quit my job, which was kind of, like, a little bit of a mess too, but it was really good. It was good to kind of get the sign off from certain, like, important people in my life. And so that was nice. But so I purchased these tickets, and then I went to, like, a family reunion, and it was in the basement of this bar in Minneapolis, and it's kind of like, you know, like a dive bar, and it was really nice, but it was nice to get together with family. And so my dad's cousin, Kim Valentini, who's the owner, why do I say owner? She's the founder. She's the founder of Smile Network, and they go in and do cleft lips and cleft palate surgeries on the kids all over the world. And so I had gone on a mission with them prior, and it was one in Lima, and I was just telling her about going to Peru. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go this year too. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. When are you going? And it turned out we were literally going on the same day, and that was just like mind blowing. And she asked me if I wanted to be a part of the journey, if I wanted to be a part of the mission with them. And that just kind of started off its own thing too. And so I felt like everything was kind of aligning, and I didn't know. It's like I almost didn't want it to align because I was so scared to go. But after everything started kind of coming together, and it's not like it really ever had before, and it just felt really nice. And I felt like, all right, like this is it.
Now I can't not go.
Yeah. Because it's like, you're like stepping into the water, and you're like, you know, right when you jump into a lake, and it's like, it's cold,
It's hard.
but it's hot outside, but you got to get in.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you just have to throw yourself and just hope that you don't die.
Kind of. And that was kind of the next step, was just telling my boss that I was leaving. And I guess it wasn't very complicated. It was just more internal again. Like, I was nervous because I was such close friends with her. And so just telling her, like, hey, I'm going to go to Peru with my family because my sister's having a baby. And she's like, oh, cool, that's so fun. Like, how long are you going to be gone? And I was like, 2 months, I think 3 months. I'm not really sure. And she's like, oh, what do you think? Like, I told her when I was going and when my last day would be. And she's like, oh, do you think you could like push it off maybe like 1 more month? And I was like, no, because I already purchased the tickets. And she was like in total shock. But she was super supportive, and she's super sweet as always. So it was really nice to kind of just get that out of the way. And I guess that was like one of the most nervous things. Like, one of the things I was most nervous about at the time.
Yeah, no, it's not easy.
Yeah, especially because it was a good full-time job. But because I knew I wasn't going to be there forever, I knew after I came back from this experience, I didn't want to go back to that same job. It's one of those things, you know, like, this is going to change my life forever, so let's not get back and like stuck in that rut again.
Really? You thought it was going to change your life forever?
Yeah. I didn't know if I was going to stay, if I wanted to stay there. I didn't know if... This is before I had gone. I had no idea what it was going to do, like how it might impact me. And I didn't want to go back to the same thing. Because it's kind of like... It's like a bad relationship. Like, once you go back, you know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, but I also feel like, too, like, new experiences change your perception regardless if you go back to the same environment. Because for me,
that's true.
I was in a shitty environment with my life in high school, and then I went to my camp, and then I came back into the same environment, but with a different outlook on it.
That's true.
So it's like, yeah, you kind of, I'm sorry.
Say it, just say it.
You kind of had that mentality of like the adoption kids who are just kind of like, oh, like meeting my family is going to change my whole life, which I'm not doubting that, but it's,
right.
But I also just say like, you know, just have a little sense of like,
it was an excuse. It was an excuse because I didn't want to work there anymore also.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of like, it was like, that might have been like a cover for it, right? Like, I knew it was going to change my life, but that's maybe not exactly why. Like, I just didn't, I was kind of sick of it. It was pretty much, it was in a really rich neighborhood, and there wasn't really any diversity at all. And it just felt as if I had to sit up straight and like talk normal, and I couldn't, you know, I had to enunciate all my words, and I had to be always like customer service face. And I didn't like that. Like, sometimes I just want to like slouch. Sometimes I just want to not have to dress up every single time I go to work. I didn't want to have to look professional every single day.
You know why I like dressing up?
Why?
Because I wear the same goddamn thing every day.
But you look good in it, though. That's the thing. I feel like nobody's going to call you out. You have the blue pants, you have the black pants, and like the green and gray pants. But it works.
Yeah.
And I feel like for women, it might, I don't know. Honestly, I think it was just what I was wearing. It's like when you haven't really found yourself out, and you're just trying all of these different outfits to try to like make yourself look.
It took a while for me to get to wear this stuff.
Yeah.
But I like it.
But it works for you.
Yeah.
And that's the nice thing about it. And for me, it was just awkward, and everybody was always trying to dress me up. I remember one event I came to, and I didn't look like fancy enough, so I went to go buy something, at this little boutique, and they're like, "Oh, you should be wearing this black leather skirt." And I was like,
What?
"But I only have tennis shoes." She's like, "Oh, no, you're gonna look great." And then I had this T-shirt on that said like "I love," and it had like the thing on it like of the company I was working for, and it was very, I felt so awkward and so like out of character, and it was just so weird. And I guess that's just how I felt the whole time I was working there, just so out of character, unless it was just me and my boss and we were just hanging out. But other than that, walking around just feeling like I had to be somebody completely different. And that's when I was just like, it's been enough. So I guess, yeah, going there. And
So there are multiple reasons why you want to leave.
yeah, but I'm just thinking of all the cool things that like happened after I got back from the trip, but we'll definitely get into that. And yeah, so I think that's kind of and my
backstory.
Yeah.
Kind of your reasons, talking with your family, talking with people who are important in your life, on top of your prior reasons, which is, just having that scare with cancer, and also being in a stagnant relationship where, you want change. You have like a new look on life based on, your cancer scare.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Whole list of ingredients in there to make you want to
Jump
somewhere. And what better place to do it than with, your birth family in a country that you have connections to.
Yeah. And it's one of those things too where I always wanted to do it, but this kind of like pushed it over. But I guess in life, the reason why it was super cool to do it right away there too is I had no responsibility. I didn't have to pay rent. Like, I was living with my family in the basement. There was nothing, like, I had just graduated college. I was saving my money. Like, there was no responsibility behind it. So I guess that was it was a good time to go.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
You're just thinking about, like, right now too. Like, it would be hard to go.
Yeah, it would, I don't know.
But I think it's only as hard as you make it feel.
Yeah.
If you need to do something, you just need to do it. And I think we give ourselves like too many excuses not to do things that we want to do.
Yeah. It's weird. I guess my whole perception on things is a little different because my whole life has been based around music.
Yeah.
I've literally made sacrifices my whole entire life for making music.
Yeah.
Like, no parties, rarely any parties. If there's parties, it's just with my band.
Yeah.
No vacation. I would dub vacations because I would be away from my band. No going away to college because I wanted to make the commitment to be with my band.
Yeah.
So that was my purpose, and that is still my purpose. So you asked me, everything revolved around that. Jobs, I didn't view jobs as like my career.
Yeah.
It was just something to pay the bills, which is why I'm just like, you left your job, because I'm like, dude, what the
I don't
heck?
know
Just,
what
it's
gave
money.
me, but I don't know.
I could buy 6505 plus with
But
that.
that's why I never had that mentality of needing to, like, the thing is, like, I saved money my whole life. So it's not like I was like poor sitting on something that I needed to pay off. But that's the thing. You had something. You had like some kind of purpose. And at that time, at what I say, I was 24. I didn't have something I was putting my money into. It was just like saving it in the bank. So I was like, it'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'm going to take like a few hundred down there and called it a day. Like, it wasn't, I don't know, I guess you had this commitment.
When I was that age, I was working at a dog daycare center, literally saving every check just to make it to 1,000 and change to buy my 4x12 orange cabinet for my guitar so I could play, in theory, have really good sound on stage. So,
but it's just interesting too, because it's like, did you ever get to use it?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
I
okay,
did.
well, that's good. I was going to say.
Yeah, I took it.
All this, like, working towards
something. Took
something.
it to Long Island, took it to PA. It was brolic. And my other guitarist at the time got another one like it too.
Yeah.
Yo, we felt so fresh, and my bassist got the full stack.
Yeah.
Like the one we had.
Yeah.
But another one like, that he had. I was like, yo, we are so legit right now. And everyone in the band at the time when we were in the band were like, yo, we're like carrying like $5,000 right now in the trunk. And it's just like awesome because that was our goal to like to just be like the pros, and how you can be like the pros, you gotta have the pro gear.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
You're over there like hyped up, and I'm over here like digging through my identity. Like, how can I become?
I got no time. Go, 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 go. Nah, I mean, you know, it's all different paths. That's all, you know.
Yeah.
It's part of just cool world, you know. We need everybody in different paths doing different things, because it's nice to, because your paths cross, you know, and
yeah,
you get to share that experience with somebody else, verbally, the story literally, but also the metaphorical values that you get from those experiences that you can just like, you know, just sprinkle in
all the time
subconsciously, you know.
Well, I think that's like the coolest thing about you too, is that sometimes when I get stuck in something, you're kind of like, so what? You just started this like a few weeks ago, and like, and you kind of don't understand why I'm having a hard time like in a rut, but like because of your past and because you're so dedicated and like gung-ho on things, you have such a I don't want to say like an easier you have an easier time like falling down and getting back up. For me, I didn't have that past experience. Like I said before on another episode, I've been a runner my whole life. Like, this isn't working. We're going to go here. I don't like this job. I'm going to go there. And just kind of like going all the way around. And until I met you with the whole job mentality too, is like, why would you leave a job like that you don't like? You're getting paid. I'm just like, but I don't like it. It's not going to make me happy. But you know why? Sorry, I digress. But you know why is because like I had seen my mom work a job like for her whole life, and she was just happy, but she wasn't like super happy. And I guess I didn't want to get stuck. And so I thought that I had to find a job that I was gonna keep for the rest of my life, because that's what I saw my mom do. And I didn't want to get stuck at a job I didn't like. I didn't want to keep building ranks and then only to realize like, I can't really go anywhere else because I'm so good at like this one or good at this one. Makes me happy.
Notion of like you feeling like stuck because like you said, you're good at this. How am I gonna survive at another place?
Yeah.
When little do you know, it's like life, right? It's like you could find a better job with better pay with less work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, or maybe like, you know, it's weird. I mean, I feel like I even feel a little now. It's like, you know, looking for another job, like, dang, I hope it's not more work or something. But then I'm like, yo, like, it doesn't matter. Like,
but I think the cool thing about it now and the difference now is that like, yo, we have a plan, and like we're executing that plan every single day. And when you see that, like I never had that before. When I was 23, I never had that. So having like this plan and like being able to work on it every single day, and it makes your job, like your full-time job, like so much less of an importance, to be honest. Like, not as if I don't take it serious, because I do. Like, I work really hard at my full-time job, but it gives me like a reason.
Some might say too hard. For me, it goes for me.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it's a give and take, and that's when it's kind of scary to look for a new job when you're kind of comfortable. And I never thought I'd want to be comfortable in a job, but I like my job. It gives me like the stability, yet I still have like in the mornings and night times I don't feel like I'm completely spent.
Speak for yourself.
Hey, you're just getting better.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You're going to see on Sunday when you don't have to go back on Monday, you're going to be like, all right, I like this.
Yeah. Until shit hits the fan. Call me. It's all right. I'll handle it. But yeah, no, like, definitely journey. It's a journey.
Well, we kind of went off on a little tangent of things, but next week we'll kind of get into a little bit of
maybe like start with the day of
leaving. Yeah, I have it all written down. It was Wednesday, November 12th, 2014.
Find out next time on this episode of Life of the Lost. Have you ever seen Dragon Ball Z, where they say that? Like, it gets to like the most epic part, and they're just like, Find out next time on
I
Dragon
hate
Ball
that.
Z.
And then you didn't have it like streaming anywhere,
I
so you
had to
had
wait
to
a
like
week.
wait a week. But that's what we're gonna make.
Only for them not to have that week on, and they would repeat the same episode because I didn't know that it was like the following week because it was like one of the like like a playoff game. You know how they like section it like 1 week after that week is like.
Why would they do that?
Because it creates hype. I don't know. They need planning. They need to make it all.
But you would think somebody who's on TV would have had that like all planned out.
Well, they
or
do,
did they take it like?
But it was such a hype show. Dragon Ball Z at the prime of it was just like every little boy, maybe some girls watched it. I don't know. Maybe all girls. I don't know. But I don't know. I loved that show, but I just hated that part.
Where you had to wait.
Yeah. So it's nice that now you can just burn through a whole. Well, even you have to wait for this too, I guess. It's weird, right? The whole thing is weird. Anyways, I'm not gonna get into it because
I'm like streaming. Not really.
Well, I was just talking about like the manga and then the actual anime show. And the manga is different, but the anime kind of relates to that. But sometimes the manga isn't up. That even is being written in the process.
What's manga? Is that the
It's the book. It's the book. It's
like the comic.
The comic,
book.
Yeah. So it's like the comic is being written and also released at the same time. So that can only move as fast. So every week
wait, so they do that
chapter.
now, or did they do that back then too?
Now, too. And so even now you're talking about the Japanese compared to like the English. So it's like there's three things.
Wait,
right?
so is the original one being made in Japanese?
Yeah.
Then they have to bring it to translate
in Japanese. That has a translation on top of the manga in actual Japanese that the Japanese company makes that manga only for that anime to come to America and get English dubbed. So we have all the like Goku, like the voice of Goku, the voice of Vegeta is not the Japanese kids what they grew up on.
Right.
We grew up on those characters in here. So then that dope. So they have to go to the dance studio. Yeah. They have to get all the things. They have to have writers translate it. Yeah. And say, okay, this is how you say it, and then they have to go back and forth because it's a Japanese.
And is this why it took the weeks long?
Yeah, it's because it's a Japanese company, so these guys have to, I'm sure, send the episodes to them.
Yeah.
And approve it.
And then it has to get approved for TV too.
On top of that, so. And all that's working in tandem with.
Did you know this back then?
No, I didn't even. I was just a little boy just waiting for. So
you don't give a shit about any of this stuff. You're just like waiting, and like all this back end stuff is happening.
In Japan, they already know what already happened. Here,
really?
Here. Yeah, because it's already.
It already gotten released.
Yes.
They didn't just send it at the same time.
I'll tell you right now, Attack on Titan right now.
Yeah.
It's already done. The 4th season. It's already been played in Japan.
Wait, but have they? The manga. Okay, so they haven't English dubbed it, but have they like?
It's released. You can watch it online right now.
Only in Japanese, though.
Yes, but that's what I'm trying to say.
Oh.
Like as a little boy, you don't realize that they don't have access to that. You have to go.
It kind of sucks though at the same time because then it doesn't have. I kind of lost the hype factor of Attack of the Titans. I don't even remember.
Attack of the Titans.
What was it called?
Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan.
I don't know. I'm new to this too, but I'm trying to be.
But I don't even remember where we lost it.
Lost hype.
Left it. I don't remember what happened.
What happened? They finally reached the water. They finally realized that they were the only. They were
on an island.
They were like you know how the warring factions were at war with like the Titans. They didn't know where they came from, but they just came.
Yes.
And this whole kingdom was always under attack by these Titans.
Yes.
They realized that it wasn't just the Titans; it was the whole people in that society too.
Was attacking them.
That they were all a part of the Titan race, and that there's an even bigger city outside of that whole area that all segregated them to that.
But what about the monkey guy? Like, did we ever?
The monkey guys
are friends?
Part of these citizens. They all have the Titan blood running in them.
So, but they wanted to kill each other
because they didn't realize their past.
So then, are they cool now?
Yes.
So the monkey guy, they're all working together.
Yeah.
Where was
now they have to fight the forces without them. But there's also more information that we don't know that are linked. We don't know the true origin story of the divide of the actual two.
So they're gonna make like a boat and go check out.
They're gonna go check out the bigger world.
I don't even really need a boat with the monkey.
You know how they had horses and shit?
Yeah.
In the other city, it's all futuristic stuff.
At the same time?
In the Dark Ages or something. Yeah.
I thought that they were going back and forth in time.
No, that was
just... Well, those before and after kind of things, that's actually like current time and then the...
Remember when they saw the blimp? That blimp?
Oh, yeah.
That was in the past, but it was even futuristic. Why the hell they have blimps in that area? Why are they running horseback when they could have cars in the other place?
True.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
So that's that. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that right now it's like
Foot's
done.
asleep.
You could like look up the ending of it probably. Maybe they're like 2 episodes finished, ready to be finished.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there just like not even acknowledging any of it because I want to watch it because I'm used to the voices.
Yeah.
Remember
we
them?
tried one time. We tried to watch like the captions.
Half they split it up. They split up the season.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
Because they have to wait for the other half to be dubbed.
When it's ready though, are you gonna be like right on it? Like I want to watch it right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, find out next time on this episode. Oh, just kidding. But yes, sorry.
Say
yes,
sorry.
What?
I said don't say sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Next week, we will get in depth with the day of leaving
to Peru
and meeting your family again, but
living with
to
them.
Stay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like having them pick you up in the airport and, going home.
Home.
Peace.